Okay, in this video, I'm going to try and get you to push your thinking even further when it comes to comparing fractions, although we can definitely use the skills we've previously talked about. So this one says, which sign makes this statement true? What's bigger, 10/12 or 2/6? My first thought here is actually to think about the benchmarks. 12, I know that half of 12 is 6. And 10 is bigger than that, so this is bigger than a half. I know that half of 6 is 3, and 2 is less than that. So this is smaller than a half, so this one must be bigger. That's the first way I think about it. The other thing I'm thinking, I always think about pizzas, okay? I have my pizza with 12 pieces. 10 of them are left, or I'll tell you, you could have 10 out of 12 pieces. That's a lot of the pizza. Over here, I have a pizza split into 6 pieces, and I say you can only have 2 of them. That's not a lot of the pizza. This is the bigger one. The other thing we can think of is, hey, I can use my fraction strips. 10/12 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is here. 2/6 is only there. 10/12 is bigger. The last thing we can do, and I'm not sure if you're going to have to do this too much more in grade 7, but I'm pretty sure you will have to in grade 8 and 9, etc., is we can actually change the fraction, make an equivalent fraction by multiplying. We've talked about this kind of thing before, where if we do the same to the top and the bottom, it's still equal, and then we can more easily compare. So I notice that 6 times 2 would be 12. And it's way easier to compare fractions if they have the same denominator or numerator. We've talked about that before. So let's make this denominator the same. So I'm going to times the bottom of this by 2. Therefore, that'll be over 12. Whatever I do to the bottom of the fraction, I have to do it to the top of the fraction in order to keep it equal. We'll talk more about this a little later with equivalent fractions. 2 times 2 is 4. So now I'm just comparing 10/12 with 4/12. Obviously, again, 10/12 is bigger. Okay, another example. Which fraction is less, 1/7 or 2/14? This one's a little harder for me to think about, because if I think of a pizza, 1/7 is not a lot of it, but 2/14 is not a lot of it either. I would use my fraction strips, but I don't have 14ths on here, and I don't have 7ths either. So this is one of those examples where it actually really changing the fraction to an equivalent fraction is the easiest way to do it, and possibly my only option. So I noticed that 7 times 2 will be 14. So if we do the same to this like we did to the last one, if I times the bottom by 2 and I times the top by 2, we can make an equivalent fraction. 2 times 7 is 14, and 2 times 1 is 2. So now I'm looking at 2/14 in comparison with 2/14. Obviously, 2/14 equals 2/14, so neither, they are equal. Last example here. So, okay, 1/5 versus 6/15. 1/5 seems pretty small. 6/15 is smallish, but if we think about what's half of them, half of 5 is like 2.5. So that's quite a bit smaller than half. Half of 15 is like 7.5. So 6, I think this one's going to be bigger. I look down here, 15th's not in my fraction strips. So I see that 5, I can times it by 3 to get to 15. This is where knowing your multiplication facts well makes life a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and times both the top and the bottom by 3. Times 3 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So now I'm looking at 3/15 in comparison with 6/15. Obviously, 6/15 is bigger. So my answer would be like so. This one. 3/15 is less than 6/15. Okay, good luck.